Right now, Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome inside the Fan Cave. Hope you had a nice, safe holiday and enjoyed Independence Day 2024. I'm Bob Pompeani. I'll be here until 11 o'clock taking your phone calls at 412-575-2600. That's the hotline. You can also hit me up on Twitter. It's at KDPomp. And a lot of people talking about the Pirates and an opportunity for them to win a series today. And they seem to have that good opportunity when Martin Perez threw 7 1/3 really good innings. He didn't give up any earned runs. But again, this offense, which has been very up and down for most of this season, once again was down today. The only run they could muster through 9 was a Brian Reynolds home run. And then in the bottom of the 10th, they got a sac fly on a brain cramp really out there from Brendan Donovan. But other than that, not much. And when you get these kind of pitching performances in a tight pennant race or a tight wild card race, it's very difficult to overcome them. So time is ticking away, and they got an all-star break coming up, but they also have 4 meaningful games with the Mets and a wraparound series that goes to Monday. And then after that, it's the Milwaukee Brewers, and they're in first place in this division. So they could be in a tough situation, not just in games back to the final wild card team, but also trying to jump over so many others who are in contention. So that's where they are right now. And in the last 6 games, they're 2-4. They started that series with Atlanta, a playoff team. And now today, St. Louis, they completed a series that's a playoff team. They got the Mets, who are challenging for a playoff team, and then a first-place team after that. That was a 13-game stretch. I was hopeful they can go 7-6 on that 13 games. Right now they're 2-4, and that seems unlikely. But they got to get something together, and the news didn't get any better today because Jared Jones has a lat strain, and they've been very cautious with him, and deservedly so. He's 22, and you want to have him when it matters most, but you got to be very mindful of how much he's thrown. So last year, I think the most he ever threw in one season was 122 innings. He's on pace to go over that, so they're kind of taking their time. He's going to be out until after the All-Star game with a lat strain. Very talented kid, and I think it's probably the right call not to press him. They skipped a few days. I think it was 8 days between his last start, and even then he had that uncomfort last night or discomfort, and it resulted in him going on the 15-day IL today. So a lot to talk about with the Pirates at 412-575-2600. I saw the video there on the mustard belt, they call it. It's like Joey Chestnut went to the live tour of the hot dog championship. He went on some other food area that he's not allowed to compete with Nathan's. I get how that goes, I suppose, but why would you not want your defending champ there, regardless of who he represents? Eating is eating. And if you notice today, I don't know if you follow this kind of stuff, and normally I don't, but it was one of those days that you do. While that was going on, Joey Chestnut had his own competition, and he put it on a live stream, and in 5 minutes, keep in mind this Bartoletti guy had 58 in 10 minutes. He's the new champ, but Joey Chestnut had 57 in 5 minutes. So he was on pace for over 100 hot dogs and buns consumed in 10 minutes, which would have broken his own record by far. So interesting stuff there. I still consider him to be the champ, even though he's on the live tour of the hot dog circuit. 412-575-2600 is the number to call. We'll get into that. We'll also talk about some of the other stuff going on as we get closer and closer to training camp for the Pittsburgh Steelers. It'll be here before you know it. That's going on. And anything else you want to talk about is fair game with me. Call me, 412-575-2600. We're just getting started here. It's a holiday edition of the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. We do this show 7 nights a week, so don't be a stranger here on KDKA Plus as well as 93.7 The Fan on most nights, depending on the Pirate coverage as well. So we'll take a break, come back with your phone calls right here, right now on KDKA Plus for the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. Our GMC Sierra tweet of the night comes from Jason Mackey, our friend over at the Post-Gazette, who says, and this is his math at work, to finish with 85 wins, legit shot at a wild card. In his opinion, the Pirates at 41-45 would have to go 44-32 in their remaining 76 games, and that is really a steep hill to climb. And it is, especially if they don't make any changes to their offense right now. They get guys who get hot in spurts, but then there's too much inconsistency, too many men left on base, and when you do that, you're going to make it really difficult. Now, if you look at the number of quality starts the Pirates have had, second most in the majors, at least according to the graph I'm looking at right now, and they have not been able to turn those into wins. 41 and 45 could easily be, at minimum, 45, 41. It'd probably be more than that, and they'd be in a position to be in a wild card right now. So, something's got to give with that, and there's not many answers within their system. They brought up Josh Palacios today, but he's been a good pinch hitter in his time, especially last year. But on a regular basis, they need more production. They're just not getting it. Brian Hayes continues to not produce at all. The catching situation doesn't do much. You look at the outfield outside of Reynolds, it's very much up in the air. Tellez is starting to come on, but it's just too little of the offense that they really need. And again, today the big news was that Jared Jones is going on the 15-day IL, so that reduces one of your best starts now, or starters, and he's not going to be out there until probably after the All-Star game. So I want to hear from you on that and other stuff you want to get into. Let us know here at 412-575-2600, beginning with Cole in Harrisburg on line number 3. Hello, Cole. How are you tonight?
Hello, Bob. Thanks for having me on. So with today's loss to the Cardinals, this leaves the Pirates at 4 games under 500. So with the trade deadline approaching in a few weeks, I do not think internal improvements can fix a bottom 3 team OPS along with a bottom 4 team bullpen ERA in the MLB this year. Do you think they will try to salvage this season at the deadline or look towards spending money in free agency to actually compete next year due to a very competitive wild card race and a strong seller's market this year?
Well, I think that's a lot you asked there, Cole. What I would tell you is time's running out, and they're going to have to dig deep to come up with a 12-game over 500 finish here just to put themselves in a position, as Jason Mackey said there. I always thought the longer they waited, the worse it would get in terms of how many teams are interested in the same thing they're interested in. A lot of teams have the same hitting problems, and they're going to be looking for similar players. And you're going to look at the same places, whether that's Colorado, whether that's Miami, whether that's Oakland, all these teams that are in a position to acquire talent and to give you some good talent if you're willing. But then if there's a bidding war that ensues and a lot of teams are involved, it might make it more difficult to do. And as far as Ben Cherington saying the answers are internal, they're not. And the longer they go without addressing that, they're going to be in trouble for this season. And I think this was an opportunity. It still is, but you got to take advantage of it. It doesn't help that the Reds went into the Yankee Stadium and completed a 3-game sweep today. They got to win 8-4, use their long ball to win that game. They're really hot right now, and so is the team coming to Pittsburgh tomorrow, the New York Mets. 412-575-2600. Let's go out to Rich in West Mifflin. Hello, Rich. How are you?
Okay, Bob.
Yep.
I don't get the pitch count. It's under a microscope that they can only throw so many pitches. If you've ever been to a game before it starts, that pitcher warming up throws 200 balls.
Well, listen, the pitch count is there because of the commodities that these players have become, and that's what they are. They pay a lot of money for most of them. They have young guys who have a lot of potential, and the last thing you want to see is an arm injury. And maybe we're overanalyzing this stuff. I've talked to too many old school baseball people who've pitched. I remember talking to Steve Blass recently in my golf tournament, and I said, do you remember your pitch count during your 2 complete games in the 1971 World Series? He said, no, we just pitched until we couldn't pitch. And it's all changed because of metrics, because of money, because of all the things involved. I thought you were going to ask about the pitch clock and how it's affected the game, and I think in a very good way. Although there were a couple of times today that I thought Colin Holderman might be called for a ball 4. It was taking a lot of time. We saw a game end earlier this year on a pitch count violation with the bases loaded in the bottom of the ninth. You don't like to see a walk-off win that way, but the bottom line is just the way it's become. It's just like you're never going to see a complete game on a regular basis. Very seldom do you see it. You'll get a few, but not compared to some of the days that you used to see where guys would just go 9 innings regardless of a pitch count. Some of them would go over 120 pitches, but now, that's another thing you don't see much of. I was looking earlier today about that, and I only counted on a handful of pitchers that have gone over 125 pitches this year. So that goes to show you how much emphasis there is into preserving arms and making sure that those guys are healthy enough to last an entire season. Bert in Rostraver joins us right now. Hello, Bert. How are you?
Hi, Bob. Yeah. I thought the NBA Finals would have been a lot better series if Porzingis hadn't have done his best Bill Walton impersonation those first 2 games. I think they just carried that into the last 3 games. But I was wondering what you think about the Sixers getting Paul George, and more specifically the Mavericks getting Klay Thompson, and how that might affect next year.
Thanks, Bert. Listen, I think Klay Thompson's a good player still, and I think he'll be effective for Dallas. Gives them their essential three players they can rely on, the quote big three. Luka Doncic is going to get one of those supermax contracts. You also have Kyrie Irving, who's been really good with Luka. I thought that might not work at first. And then you had Klay Thompson, who's a four-time champion. They'll be good again. I thought Thompson might end up with the Lakers, but that did not work out. As far as Paul George, I just think that's wasted money. All due respect, he's a very talented guy. He's had a great career, but 4 years, $212 million, a little bit too much for my liking. And I just don't see that combination with Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey is good enough. A lot of people disagree with that. I just looks like a bad fit for me. All right, let's go out to Mike in Charleroi. Mike, welcome to the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. How are you?
I'm good, Bob. Thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
I want to comment about this extra inning rule in baseball. The fans hate it. The ball players like it. The managers like it, and so forth. But it's tradition, and the fans what makes the game. And I'm afraid that a lot of people are going to lose interest in baseball because of this goofy extra inning rule.
Well, I liked it when it first happened. I don't like it now. The pitch clock has changed things around for me to the point where you don't need to put a runner at second base. And listen, that brings up a situation that happened today for the Pirates in the 10th inning. It was a 1-1 game. And again, when you have a runner at scoring position to start an inning, more times than not, he's going to score. So in order to win an extra inning game this day and age, you're going to have to score more than one run in extra innings. The Pirates did that last night, and today they gave up two. And the reason I'm bringing this up is Michael A. Taylor was kind of caught in a tough position. He's a Gold Glove outfielder, but there was a drive into left center field. He went all out, dove, missed it. That allowed the run to score, but it would have even if he had not done that. What he allowed, though, was the guy who eventually got the game winning run to move into scoring position. If he just fields that on one hop, that doesn't happen potentially. So they got two in the top of the 10th. So the Pirates, they got a run, but there wasn't enough. So that's the only thing I don't like about it. I think it's kind of a fake ending. It's almost like, what you have with shootouts in the NHL. There was a time and a place for it. I'm getting to the point where I don't want to see it too much anymore. I just want to play it the right way. They're also trying to preserve pitching staffs and not use guys as much as they do because now, getting back to our previous caller with how things have changed in pitch counts, these guys in the bullpen very seldom go more than one inning. And you saw last night that Aroldis Chapman actually did go more than one inning because he had 7 pitches in the bottom of the 9th or top of the 9th, and then he went out for the 10th and got out of that. So he actually did something you don't see. Holderman's been used 2 straight days. He will not be available tomorrow, I'm guessing. So, and with Bednar out, your bullpen's pretty thin. So maybe that's another reason why they want to do it. All right, out to Vern in Butler. Hey, Vern, what's up?
Hey, Bob.
Go ahead.
I'd like those new rules and extra innings where you start a runner at second base. I think that's such a disgrace to the game. I mean, if you want to mess up the game totally, why don't they make it now where more than four fouls in a bat, you're automatically out? I mean,
yeah, I mean, I understood it, coming back from the COVID situation and all of that, but I don't want to see it anymore. I don't. I want to see it played the right way. But that's just my opinion. I've switched off on a lot of my thoughts on that. I at first didn't think the pitch clock was going to be all that effective, and it's turned out to be very effective. So, but this one I would like to see change back. Chuck in Uniontown, I know you're not happy today, Chuck.
No, I am not happy, but that's beside the point. I hope you had a good fourth ball.
You too.
But it's just a matter of the Cardinals know that if they're in a pivotal game, they know they're going to beat the Pirates in a tight game. And the Pirates, worst thing is, Bob, the Pirates know the Cardinals are going to beat them in a tight game. It's a confidence situation, and for the Pirates, unless they learn to punch that bully in the mouth, it's going to happen this way.
They have their number, Chuck. I agree with that. But I will say the Cardinals aren't that good of a team in my estimation. I think they have flaws. I don't look at them as they're in the playoff spot right now. Give them credit. They're a great organization. They always figure out ways to be competitive, last year notwithstanding when the Pirates finished ahead of them. But generally speaking, that team top to bottom has holes in it. So I don't think they're going to be a team that's going to be able to do all that much in the playoffs. I could be wrong, but that's just me. I think the Pirates would have a better shot based on their pitching if it stays healthy, and by adding something if they ever got an opportunity to do it. So, but they came in here, took 2 of 3, and that's what the Pirates needed to do after losing 2 of 3 in Atlanta. And now I think the Pirates have got to take 3 or 4 against the Mets, who are one of the hotter teams in baseball. We got to take a break. We'll come back with more. This is the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. We're live 7 nights a week right here on KDKA Plus and most nights 93.7 The Fan. The Pirates have had some nice picks in the draft. It helps to have number 1 overalls, although the one that I'm really concerned about is Henry Davis. They really need to get him on track. As I've said before, I'm not going to give up on the kid just yet. He's had a really bad year, but they need him to be the bat that they expected him to be, and if not, they got real problems there. So they don't have as much depth as Baltimore, no question. Baltimore's playing in one of the more competitive divisions in all of baseball, and yet last year they were really good. This year, really even better. And so many young kids, if you look at their starting 9, or at least the starting 8 of position players, I think 7 of them are 26 and younger, and a lot of them much younger. So that's how you do it. Quick development of these guys once you draft them. And then George Lochner on Twitter says, I like Palacios being called up. He plays with a passion, is clutch. He is clutch when he gets an opportunity. I'm surprised it took him this long to get up here. You know, they're looking for internal answers. If you're going to do that, you may as well bring guys up when they're playing well. And they had a few of them, including him down there, who have been playing well. So I'm glad they offered up an opportunity for him. We'll see what they do with him. That's going to do it for us tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll do it again tomorrow night at 10:35. In the meantime, check us out on KDKA News at 11 o'clock. That'll start in about 5 minutes from right now. You have a good rest of your evening. Hope you had a great holiday. We'll see you again tomorrow night.